Hello, hello. This is Angie Watkins coming to you for the 5 of September 3rd. I'm your extreme encourager and your how life coach. So one of the things I want to talk about today, September 3rd, is writing your way to better pay. So last week we talked about just understanding your benefits of you and breaking it down 3 ways. And I want to allude to some things that I find as a personal myth that when you're doing your resume, you can actually write your information, or even if you're having someone, if you're collaborating to have something written for you. I want to talk about three kind of pet peeves I personally have, because sometimes we're making the same mistakes over and over again. That's why we're not getting traction about where we're going. So one, we're being too general. You have those resumes where it's like, I served as I'm project manager. We came in on time, under budget, and we achieved the strategic goals of the agency or the organization that we were trying to go through, and had, collaboration with the customer. That really doesn't do anything. It doesn't say anything about your impact. It's a bunch of blah, blah, blah speak. And I've seen a lot of it, some stuff, you see it on LinkedIn, and some people like, oh, that's so great. I think it's a good intro, but it really doesn't have much meat. Then you have the ones that looks like a position description. I am responsible for collaborating maybe with federal and or contract employees, again, to meet the objectives of strategic goals for the entire department or division, and administer or leverage the tools and trainings of the different employees to have an effective team building or atmosphere. Position description. That's what you're responsible for. Still really not getting to what your impact. Again, it still could be an intro. You could edit some things, put some little more detail in there, and I'm going to go over that in a minute. But then there's other people you're thinking you have to write this, American novel, like, it's a dark and stormy night kind of thing. Or, you trudge through the dark hallways of the agency and collaborated into this, dark conference room, and cups and Starbucks coffee across each way. And you sat down and you trudged for hours to make this beautiful project plan that made the angels sing and weep and like go, oh! I'm like, it's just overkill. No one is expecting you to be a novelist. You just need to have facts. So, so back to the whole thing about, the blah, blah, blah of, we, met the project and under budget. Well, how about you say, what was budget? You was in charge of a $3 million project. We ended 3 months earlier, saved the agency 20% funding. And then we have, 80% response rate or adoption by the customer in an adverse or culture change, adverse environment. You can add some little substance in there about the benefit, the contribution, the difference of what was going on and the effect that you had. All these things are the ABCDs of accomplishment. And then we talk about your position description about, I'm responsible for, federal and contract employees getting the best thing, a strategic goal. I'm like, yeah. How many federal employees? How many contractors? What was the strategic goal? How fast did you meet it? So you want to change something. I'm like, well, I'm specifically responsible, the project manager for, again, $3 million project. We had 15 federal employees, over 30 different contractors working to reach the strategic goal that has been outstanding, maybe for the last 10 years, 2 years maybe. And we met it with 6 months, left to go, and we saved the agency, over 2 million or 2,000, 200, whatever it is. Quantify that information. What was before? What was after? What was the difference that you made in your information? And granted, some of the stuff I'm just tweaking, but all of these things are based on facts. And when you get to the whole novelist thing about the project plan and made the angels weep and cry, bottom line, you collaborated with 15 different people maybe in a conference room. We met, for 20 hours, whatever, over 3 days, over a week, whatever, to develop a comprehensive project plan that was effective in the mission of meeting the objectives of the contract. And again, if you save the agency money, if you again, collaborated or had feedback and metrics that you got 80% feedback from the customer participation who are usually not responsive, or you got awesome feedback from senior leadership because you were so effective in your communication plan, or your project plan had a comprehensive plan, effective risk management role, and that you didn't even have to implement some of the things because you were able to mitigate maybe 30% of the things that you may have thought was going to happen, and you alleviate that. Maybe you actually leverage effective communications and partnership with some difficult people. Maybe it was union people, maybe it was leadership, maybe it was just the resistant customers. You made sure they got buy-in early. Talk about the real facts. And how early was it? And you learn in any type of contract or project or whatever, you have analysis of the people who want to buy in early, the people who want to drag their feet, and the people who are just going to resist because they want to resist. And if you have a way or a measure or any type of thought process that you got buy-in for them, write that stuff down. These are all facts, not fiction, not hyperbole, whatever way you want to pronounce that word. You want to make sure you can write your way to better pay. And all it is factual. So if you can actually, and if you are still laboring on because you don't think you're right, well, you don't have a good vocabulary, whatever, don't limit yourself. You want to be as real on paper as you get real on an interview. If your resume has stuff about like utilize and leverage, and really what you really want to say is like, we use this to make sure people bought in. Put it in there. It can still be professional, but the main thing is still going to be you. You don't want your piece of paper to look like one thing and you get and represent something else, and it's like there's a mismatch. They're going to know you didn't write anything. You want to make sure you're as authentic, as effective, and you can actually represent yourself on paper, in person, and on the job consistently. It's not a bad thing if you don't have a $500 word when a $50 word or 50-cent word is just as effective to make your point. You know your industry terms, you know your industry phrases, but only you can talk about what benefit or what accomplishment you had in black and white. And again, if you still don't necessarily want to write it because you still are hemmed up, at least you know what you need to be communicating with whoever you're going to partner with to document what you've done. You need to know the facts, and you don't need to embellish anything when you have the facts. There's no dark and stormy night. There's no dreary hallway that you need to write about when you're trying to get context. But if you had to collaborate with more than 50 different people, and they're not even in the same place, write that stuff down, because that's important, because that's what you did. And you can write your way to get what you need. You can say it the way you need it. You can have it reflect your skill, but most importantly, reflects your facts. It's facts, not fiction. It's not about how you feel. It's about what you did. You're like, well, I'm not comfortable talking about that. Well, did it happen? Well, yeah. Did you save the agency $20,000 or $20? I don't care. Did you get a good deal on something because you made a contribution that got somebody thinking like, hey, we don't need to buy that. We don't need to spend that. We don't need to do that. We can save money here and no one's, worse off. We can train these people to do this and they can learn a new skill. I'm like, come on. If you've done those things, don't take it for granted. But you need to be thinking about those things. You can go back to the next one, all about the benefits. You got the up, down, and the side to side, but then you document the facts. You don't want hot air in your resume, wondering what the heck does this mean? You collaborated with people, okay? Who? To do what? Who, what, when, why? Come on. These things are factual information. You can do this. And again, if you want to partner with somebody, understand what you want to have said to represent you. So when you're on paper, face to face, when you get on the job, you have a consistency that's easy to see, that reflects you, that supports you, and that represents what you can do. So this is Anggie Watkins, your Extreme Encourager, and I want to make sure I touched on that because one of the things is you can write your way to better pay. And even if you're collaborating with someone else, they can write your way to better pay as well. And if you want to collaborate with me to do the same, I'm more interested in teaching you how to do it because once you get the job, You're going to have to focus on how to document what you've done on your regular reviews. And when you're ready to move on to the next job or get a promotion or something like that, you always want to know how to best represent yourself. So you can have a fish and eat for a day, or you can learn to fish and get your pay every day for the rest of your life. So, Anggie Watkins, you can always email me or direct message me, arwatkins@rashmatrix.com, or you just send me a message on Facebook or info@rashmatrix.com. However way you want to reach me, let's talk about how you can do what you need to do to get the pay and the prestige and a position that you deserve. So, till next time, talk to you soon.